In this video, we'll cover how to add this sort of layering to a crochet object. I tend to use this for clothing, as you can see here, but you can use it for anything. This technique that I use essentially allows you to create a layer and add a little bit of depth like that without actually modifying the base pattern basically at all, other than adding this layering over top. And I'll show you what I mean later on, but you can sort of see that there is just this one layer that overlaps this existing piece, and you can see these white strands of basically this next row being worked directly into this bottom row. So the way this works is we're basically creating this extra ring and then crocheting through both the ring and the existing piece to create that layer. So when we're doing this, we want to work our existing piece, the thing that's going underneath the overlap, to a row further than where we actually want the overlap to start. So in this case, this is, I believe, 9 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows tall, because I actually want the overlapping clothing layer to begin covering row 9. So what we're going to do is we take row 9 and we're basically going to repeat it. So this row 9, for me, this layer that I want to be overlapped is 24 stitches around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the end of this mess of yarn. I'm going to get this as a slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to chain 24 because that, again, that's the number of stitches in row 9. So we're basically making the circumference or the number of stitches in row 9 as a ring. So 24 here. So I have my chain of 24. I'm now going to flip it around and link it up with a slip knot. I tend to work through the back bumps. I think it looks cleaner. You don't have to do this. You can work through the top loops of your chain if you want. I just prefer the look of working through the back bumps. So I'm going to slip stitch there, and I'm going to make sure that I haven't twisted this loop. We want to make sure that this is not twisted. So I've slip stitched this. I'm now going to chain 1 and single crochet into that bump we slip stitched into. I'm then going to single crochet into every bump around this ring. And this is what's creating that overlapping layer. You can actually get into these back bumps. It's a little tricky, but I do prefer the look of it. And again, we're just putting a single crochet in each of these back bumps for a total of 24 stitches around. Again, repeating the same number of stitches as we have in that final row that we did on our other piece. All right, I now have my ring of 24 stitches. I can bring this guy back in. So I've got that first row. This is the overlapping row. You can do more than this if you want. If you want a bigger overlap, you can keep working rings here and then do this step. But I'm just going to do the one row for now. So this is where we're going to attach this ring to this piece. So I'm going to first actually add a stitch marker here so I know where that last stitch of my round is. Now I'm going to go in to the first stitch of this circle. I'm going to move it so that my hook is going through the middle of the circle, just so it's a little bit easier here. And I'm going to find the first stitch of this round. So you can see this is where I cut my yarn for that last stitch. I'm going to go in also under that stitch. I'm now going to move that ring so that my hook is going up through the middle of the ring before I work a single crochet going around both of those stitches. And now it's attached and it's a little bit easier to work now. So I'm going to show you again. We're going in through the next stitch of the outside ring and then finding the next stitch. So not this one, but the next stitch of the inside ring and crocheting into that as well. What we're doing here is, again, if I've been calling this row 9 and I've had that overlap of row 9, we are now working this connecting round as row 10. So the way I like to do this, I like to make my connecting row be such that there are no increases or decreases. We're just working a single crochet into every stitch. If you did have an increase in this round, you would just go in through both stitches again and do a single crochet. If you have a decrease, what I do is I set myself up for an invisible decrease on both layers. So first, I'm going to set myself up for an invisible decrease on the outside by going through the front loops of the next 2 stitches. Then I'm going to go to the inside, locate the next 2 stitches on the inside loop, and grab both of the front loops on the inside piece before working that invisible decrease through both. So again, to do an invisible decrease during this round, you set it up on the outside, you set it up on the inside, and then you complete the invisible decrease through both. What I'm working on right now, I don't have any decreases in this round, so I'm just going to go through both stitches all the way around back to the start. Now I'm going to push this through the inside, grab that tail, and now I have the entire inside piece within the outside ring. Just keep working these last handful of stitches. And you will want to make sure that you are actually going through all of the stitches and matching them precisely. I've had times where I don't quite get them matched up and then I have to rip them out and go back, but we should be going through each stitch in the outside and each stitch on the inside. And now you can see it creates this really nice clean overlap. If I flip it up, you can see that that purple stitch has gone through the blue as well. It does create a little bit of a thick spot here where the overlap occurs, but that's just kind of how it goes. And we've essentially finished that next round, that connecting round, and we can continue the rest of our pattern as normal, starting from, in this case with my example, row 11. So we had an overlap in row 9, our connecting row in row 10, and we're continuing on, starting with the same pattern as we're following from row 11. And again, I really do like this because you really can't apply it to anything without modifying the pattern basically at all other than adding that overlap. So I hope that that is a useful technique for you in your crochet projects.